got my laces tied. My trusty podcast by my side. If you wanna talk fun, it's the place to be. Yeah, it's the drop, D-R-O-P.
Hey, this is Taylor with Believe in the Run.
And this is Reese with Believe in the Run.
And today we have a topic on the drop that neither of us are interested in, but we're intrigued by.
Do we have an
Is that the way to
opinion
put
on it? Which is like pretty classic. I'm not interested in this, but I have an opinion on it.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe this is what's wrong with our world.
Yeah, like I have no stake in the game, but I definitely have an opinion on it.
Yeah. Like a stronger opinion than I probably should have.
Yeah, I mean, when pressed, everyone will have an opinion. Whether or not I want
sure.
it is another thing.
Well, when we were at Western States, you and Thomas kept going back and forth on something like whether you have an opinion or are willing to state it, something along those lines.
Probably, yeah. I think if it matters, yeah. I was like, look, when pressed, if someone asks me my opinion on something, I will probably give it to them, whether or not it is relevant and it holds any weight is another factor entirely, and that requires some judgment call, like. So I think,
on who and how to share it with, kind of.
Yes. Yeah. Like I'll have an opinion. Like if someone just asks me, like, what's your opinion on like toilet paper? I'll probably give it to them, but does mine matter? Like, I don't know.
Or like the Midwest way to do it is like when my parents come to town, like, I mean, my family, we're still pretty young. I feel like we're poor half the time, and toilet paper in itself isn't the most, notable thing on our quality list. I appreciate quality, obviously. But when my mom comes to town, she always brings with her like her Charmin, whatever.
No way.
She buys it for everybody. She's like, this is my treat every time I come. But
oh my God. I was going to say, maybe a better example would be wine. Like I could have an opinion on wine, but does it matter? And is it like super informed? No. Like I'll drink $2 wine, I'll also drink $100 wine. But
Boda Box, I mean, I feel like
but okay,
value.
What is it that we have an opinion on but might not have a stake in?
Well, before we get there, how's your week of running been? Because we saw each other. We filmed the Best in Gear Awards earlier this week. So this is a treat, talking twice. But how was I heard about your week of running a little bit, but I want to hear more details.
Phenomenal. This current week is the last big volume week, and last week was the second, and I felt great. The first week I felt terrible. I was like, you're just like exhausted. Second week, I'm like, oh my God, I think it's working. And this week I can tell you're like, you get to that point of the training and you're kind of on that knife's edge of like, you do a little too much, but you're like, you kind of feel a little invincible, but you're not.
That's
like you can only stay here for so long.
So much part of the fun.
Yeah. You can only stay here for so long. And I think like, it's like this utopia where you hear the sirens call of like, you are this fit forever. And it's like, no, you're not. You can only stay. This is not
a moment in
sustainable.
time.
Yeah, it's a very
island in paradise.
Yes, and I'm there and I'm loving it. So it's been nice. I'm going down to Pikes Peak this weekend. Going to run up some bar trail with some friends.
Okay.
The Intamin Trail. So how was your bike ride around Fort Collins?
Yeah, my bike ride was good. We're just kind of at opposite ends of the spectrum. Like I was just starting to fire this morning, and just kind of daydreaming about wishing I could get out in the dark right now and go for an hour of like, it was 12 degrees yesterday, but I still wanted to just like be out there and run,
Yeah.
So I'm just still longing to run, even though I'm able to bike and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But when I'm on the bike And I have to say, this new bike that I've been testing and I'm starting to do my review of like, it does matter having a quality bike. I would be much less motivated to get out on my other, tried and true steed, but it feels nice to have a bike to get out on that I can count on going for many, many miles, gravel, pavement, whatever. But yeah, I went for a ride around your neck of the woods, but then I went up to that Noosa, the dairy.
Yes.
And
Love
so
it.
pretty much any direction you bike there, you're getting the smell of cow, free range cow until you get to the dairy, and then it's just potent cow smell. And it was actually kind of nostalgic. I grew up in an area where there are dairy farms and lots of other farms. I'm not saying it smelled good, but it was nostalgic. But
like that.
yeah, so I've had a good week. I've not run any days this past week, and that seems to be what's helping my ankle and foot best.
Yeah.
So that's the train I'm just going to ride until I don't know when.
I mean, I think that's great. And I think that you're riding. And like for me, I remember when I worked at a bike shop, I'd always tell people, buy the nicest bike that you can afford. It will be worth it because you'll actually ride it. We would always have folks come in that bought the cheapest bike they could just to see if they would like it. And I was like, well, your shifting is terrible. Like the ride quality is not as great. And so you aren't going to enjoy it. And so it's like invest in yourself and
Totally.
a hobby I think that you would probably enjoy. And so even for me, like my mountain bike is kind of a funny story that it is my most expensive bike. And it's like, I think it
Mac
probably
Daddy.
retail. I think it's like over $12,000, but
Holy cow.
I made it as nice as possible. So I had zero excuse. So it wasn't the bike that was the problem. It was me that
So
was
you
the
knew.
problem.
You knew it.
So I have no excuse.
Yeah.
The bike will function above and beyond.
Yeah. And that's like part of my criteria for reviewing this bike is like, one, is it helpful for me as a runner in terms of fitness and whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not going to help me if I'm not motivated to get on it. So is it nice enough to motivate me to get out more often? And spoiler alert, yeah, it's been nice. Yeah.
I mean, I basically trained all on a bike for Trans Rockies. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I rode just like just so much all of a sudden. My ramp rate was from like, I don't know, 0 to 100 because I couldn't run. So
Ramp rate? What's ramp rate?
yeah, like your ramp up, like
Oh, okay. I thought this was some cycling term that I
no. I
have
mean,
nothing
I
about.
guess like it could be a ramp rate on like a trainer or something, but
Yeah.
no.
Which I did do a couple of longer rides in this past week, and here's one thing. I can identify with many people now who like they run but say they're not a runner. I've never really had that like ever since I started running or even like doing track in middle school. You'd consider yourself a runner. And so I didn't really jive with that idea. I'm like, just call yourself a runner if you're doing the activity. But here I am biking, however mmany days a week, but I wouldn't call myself a cyclist. And I very much look the part because I'm like out there with my tantrums pack on and, all of these trail running gear. I don't have a cycling jersey or anything. I do have one pair of like padded shorts and that's helpful.
Yes.
But
Find a nice chamois, number one.
Okay, that's your number one tip.
Yeah, number one tip. Find a really great chamois.
So is chamois like the bibs?
Yeah, it's like the foam seat.
Oh, okay.
In the bibs.
Gotcha.
So get good bibs, and then any touch point on the bike. So your saddle, your handlebars, the stem can change. So like anything that you could change that has a touch point. So your hands, your saddle, bar tape, change it so that it works for you. Every time I've done like a skills clinic for women, the number one thing I start with is you should never be in pain while riding. If you are sitting down and you're experiencing pain, that's not normal. If your hands, if you have numbness, tingling anywhere, not normal.
Okay.
You can change that.
We might need to
Cycling is not
talk.
supposed to hurt. And I thought that was the case. Like,
Yeah.
I remember going on like an hour something ride and just realizing I was like, oh, well, after an hour, I like can't sit normally.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started working at Specialized, they were like, no, that's wrong. Like
That's
you
not
should not
Okay.
not be in pain, get a new saddle. And so just try as many saddles as you can.
Okay. There's your cross training tip of the
Yep.
week.
Cross training.
Do we have to start that segment?
Yeah.
Just kidding. Well, maybe we do. It depends on when I can start really running.
Yeah.
Which
You'll
I am.
be back in no time.
Yeah, which I am. I mean, by the time this episode comes out, it'll be a week or two after. I am excited to go to New York this week with the crew and just experience that. 'Cause I don't even like particularly want to go to New York for any other reason than to see the Believe in the Run crew. And I was going to run, as we've mentioned many times, but what a way to see the city. So I'm legitimately excited. And just to be around runners again and the crew, like.
Yeah.
So I have things to
Get a
look forward
fix.
to as a runner, I
Get-
guess.
Get a fix.
Yeah. Okay. But our topic
Yes.
of the week that we've been skirting around, 200s. 200s. They're popping up more frequently every year. I don't even know how many. Like, there's definitely more than two handfuls of like larger 200 races in the
200
country.
plus even. Let's call it 200 plus because some
200
of them are
plus.
longer.
There we go. Because that's a category. But yeah, I don't want to. That's the thing. Like, people for the last couple of years have been saying, are 200s the new 100? No, they're not. Partly because I just don't want it to be. But
Yeah.
why? Yeah, go ahead.
I have a lot of opinions on this, which,
Yeah.
like, again, totally unwarranted. I haven't done a 200, nor have I done a 100. So this is coming from a place of like not having drunk the Kool-Aid, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, you know, you look at people that don't run ultras and they're like, why would you ever do a 50? And I'm like, well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So again, like, I'm realizing there's a lot
Which might
of-
be the best. This is my opinion again. Might be the
Yeah.
most full value race distance if you're getting into ultra 50 mile.
Yeah. And I think,
throwing that out
okay,
there.
here's my theory.
Okay.
And then I'll say it. I want you to react. And I'm going to compare some cycling to running again, because
Okay.
it's the whole thing. So in cycling, what I've noticed happened when gravel racing became a thing, a lot of world tour riders or like folks that were retiring or like getting older or aging out of like hyper competitive stuff. And it was, you know, I think there is like a distance that is like the most competitive distance, or like you need a certain amount of power or VO2 or whatever youth to be competitive. And so what we saw in cycling and what I think might be happening in running is folks are getting to this point where maybe they're not quite as competitive in like the very fast 100s or whatever it is. And they either want to still race and train and do well, or maybe they have a sponsor or they need to be like relevant, you know, like doing something for their sponsorship or social media or whatever it is. And so I think 200s are what they lack maybe in the depth of field yet or currently. They might make up for in, I guess, absurdity, where it's like, oh my gosh, that's absurd. Like a 200 mile. And I'm not discounting that they're like incredibly difficult and require tons of training.
Yeah.
And there's no like shade being thrown on people that do it, but I think it's just like, and I'll probably do it too, right? Like when I get old enough to want to still compete and train, but maybe I don't have that like speed anymore.
Which is crazy that like in that mindset of like 100 miles feels like a speedy endeavor.
Yeah, I'm like, it's still, people are still like hauling for it. And even like, you know, Javelin just happened. These people are like, they're running like 8-minute miles for 12 hours in the desert heat. Like that's very impressive. And to be able to do that well into your 40s feels like a lot to ask your body. And so a 200 isn't less difficult for your body.
But then there's people like Ludovic Pomeray, Hoka athlete,
Yeah.
turned 50 this year, and he's like, one of the candidates for Ultra Runner of the Year because of his performances, like still churning out. I'm just, thinking of
No, that's a good
the point
counterpoint.
you're
Like,
coming
I
at.
think I'm curious if it's like a neuroses thing where you
Yeah.
like still want to race and be competitive, but maybe you're not finding it fun in shorter distances or something. And
Yeah.
then I think, I would be, I think ultra runners, and this is a broad sweeping statement,
Yeah.
we tend to have addictive personalities or neurotic personalities. And so I think, right, like maybe a 50 is
to
not
that,
enough,
yeah.
100 is not enough, and like a 200 is a big challenge.
Well, and that's kind of my theory too of like why it's one thing if there's like a or a few 200-mile races and those are the popular ones, and but to have like upwards of 10 or more and a lot of them are selling out, like it feels to me like that's the next frontier. Like in our American way, there's not many 200-mile races outside of the US actually. And so I wonder if it's an American way, just like the hundreds, like we kind of glorify the ultra distance, the hundreds, the bigger is better. And is 200, like, is that the next frontier of people, one, kind of exploring like many had done with the hundreds, 20 years ago? Like, is that following the same track? And then like you said, maybe then competition will follow, which, I mean, there's been a ton of great competitors who have tried and done really well at it, but the depth isn't there because so many people are flooding still to these quote unquote shorter ultras.
Yeah. Sure.
But yeah, like that's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
But and this is kind of the nice place to be for trail running these days of like, if that doesn't like wet your whistle, is that a way to put it?
Yeah.
Like that's okay because there's a lot of other things, and I can have this opinion without running a 200 and be okay with that. Like I don't have to go there, and I don't have to do that. And I think that's what some people maybe need to hear. Because even with the 100-mile distance, you don't have to go there. You don't have to do that just because you're a trail runner. But in America, we really do glorify that. And it's an amazing feat. I think the farther you go, obviously there's more potential problems to solve, and the field itself gets leveled. Like if you have 20 miles where you're just trash, like that can be either making somebody else's race or like you could be done, but there's still time to solve. Like there's so many things with even just 100, and then you pretty much not just double distance, but probably more than double the amount of opportunities to solve for problems. And I know that's a very intriguing piece to many runners, like that mental, logistical aspect of trail running.
Yeah. And I guess on one hand, right, like I personally don't think a 200, like it's not something I'm going to do for a lot of reasons. But I think when I do step back and try to like separate my own desire for it, I think maybe the sense of accomplishment, the planning, like I love logistics. And so planning for like 2 nights like that, I could see the allure behind that. And just being able to go like somewhere really interesting, you're seeing 200 miles of a place. Like that's really significant.
I mean, that's one of the main reasons I do races and sign up for different races is because I want to see the country. And if you could double that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I do think like there is something, at least, I saw it in cycling and it's probably here too, where the older folks get, or like maybe they're not as relevant in the racing scene, they'll create these like really obscure FKTs. And so like what it lacks in competitiveness, it makes up for in just like audacity and shock value, where it's like, I'm going to run across Colorado. I'm going to run across like the United States, where it's like, it's just more of shock value to me. But like, again, I'm totally projecting. Like for me, I guess like I don't.
And that's from a mostly
Yeah.
competitive standpoint, would you say?
Yeah.
Of like
Yeah. I
approaching
think
it that way.
and I think it's like multifaceted. I think there are some people that like just want to go out and like do crazy things just because that's their nature and like they don't care if anyone knows. And then I think that sometimes, everyone's just got different motivators. Sometimes people are like, this sounds like a cool project that I could document. Like that's also a motivator. It's not good or bad. Like it's just like a blanket statement.
I feel like
I
one
think
thing
it's
that's actually
interesting.
helped me recently think about this, even though I still strongly feel that I don't want to do a 200, but one of the things was like I had to shed my own view of competition because that's my one singular way of thinking about it, my own personal experience, where like most races, you and I might be toward the front or leading many races we might be in. But if you like completely take that out of the experience of like just for the challenge aspect, it becomes more intriguing for sure. But then I was talking to Tim Tollefson this week, and he just mentioned like, if you think of it as he was talking about the Mammoth 200. If you just think of it as like, 4 days or however many days of 40 miles, 5 days of 40 miles each, like breaking it apart that way, like that all of a sudden became even a little more intriguing of like, okay, I could maybe wrap my head around that and then problem solving day to day.
The slippery slope, huh?
And he,
You're
well, yeah.
sliding.
And he was saying like he would never do it either.
Yeah.
But
Okay. It's
breaking it apart
October
like
30th.
that.
Yeah. October 30th. You're saying you would never do a 200. We'll see.
No. But I say that, but then when I put it in, but like doing something like the Colorado Trail is very intriguing to me too. And like, not necessarily as FKT pace or anything like that. Maybe just going faster for my own pace, but like completely devoid of competition itself. Like that's really intriguing to me. So why, like, I think it's the competition piece and the organized event of it that I'm like really halting myself from being wanting or willing to do something like that.
Got it. That
So
makes sense.
Why is that? Why is that psychosis happening?
It's funny because I've signed up for races. I obviously sign up for races, but I like don't like racing at all. Like at all. It really stresses me out. I like, this is so terrible. Okay, this is like a confessional. I don't
We're
like
here for
being
it.
around people when I run. And in fact, I have lost races because the person near me was breathing in a way that annoyed my brain so much that I stopped, got off to the side and was like, please pass me. Like I'm just so sensitive and like it's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
And so I get really overwhelmed running near people and with people and like racing. And I just like, then again, like in my head,
And you don't
like,
want to do that for 200 miles?
Yeah. And like, as I'm saying this, I'm like, why do I even do this? And I don't know. Like, I think it's just, I like training for something rather than the actual event itself. Like, I don't care how it turns out as long as I feel like I trained really well and executed well. The result does not matter. Like I'll forget that pretty quickly, but that's why I think I'm also in the same boat as you. Is like maybe the organization or racing a 200 mile, I can't wrap my head around. But if someone were like on a soul journey and they were doing 200 miles,
for
I'm
many,
like, go for it.
and there's many people who like have a lot of experience in the ultra running world who are doing these 200s. And so, from that, like maybe hundreds are just starting to feel, just not as enough of a challenge for some of these people. And like, there's a lot of respect. Like the more I think about it and talk about it, that I definitely give to these 200-mile plus competitors, but it
1,000%.
just like within myself, and I kind of felt guilty a little bit for it too. And even like going into Leadville, like I was really excited for Leadville, but I wasn't necessarily excited for 100 miles.
No.
Like maybe as ultra runners, we don't always need to go the bigger and better. And that's like the when I think about trail running for me personally, the thing that gets me excited is like an aesthetic route. I'm excited
Yes,
to do this aesthetic route. It
1,000%.
doesn't really matter the distance, but something simple in terms of like I can just have my Raid belt on and pair of trail running shoes and maybe a gel or two and go do whatever aesthetic route. Like that's most exciting to
Yeah.
me. Whereas there are many folks out there apparently who get most excited about the longer you go.
Yeah.
And I just can't
And I think,
identify. And I guess that's okay.
like,
Tell me that's okay, right?
that is 100% okay. Like, you are absolved of your guilt
Yeah.
for not.
And this isn't
your
like a
running card
political
is not
thing
taken.
either. Like it's okay to disagree here.
Oh yeah, no, I'm also in the same boat, but I also am curious, and maybe this is just again like I'm turning 38. I'm focused more on like I want to be active and healthy for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I think when I started ultra running, like people would do like one or two a year, and now you're seeing people do multiple 100s in a year. And I personally am like my body could not rebound from that. Like I just don't think like my hormones would be okay. My body would enjoy that level of stress for that long. And I don't know if it's like a necessity of like, hey, you're a sponsored athlete, like you have to do these many big races in a year, which like that's a huge toll on your body.
That's
And
a big ask.
200s, yeah, I mean 200s like that, even if you're, it's a power hike for a lot of it, like that is still an egregious amount of stress on a body. And like thinking of doing that more than once or doing a 200 and then like multiple other like longer runs or like races within that year sounds just really stressful.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not willing to
It's
rest
like the
for that
definition
long.
of stress. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Just from
Yeah.
like a stress standpoint. Like that's
Yes.
a ton of things to put on your body. But I mean, it's amazing that people can just also do that, not just at the elite level. There are people who like John Calbrisi, our Dirt Division, he's a Dirt Division reviewer, and he's racing all the time. Like, I'm impressed. Like, it's impressive how often he can just show up and he'll like have a brand new shoe too. Like, I love that about it. He's just like, okay, I'm
Immediately
going to wear
know,
this
like-
brand new shoe that came yesterday for this
Absolutely not.
crazy race I'm going to do. But
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
Even for me, like I was chatting because I knew what we were talking about today. I was chatting about this last night at dinner. And right, JFK is the November 22nd, and then I'll do Black Canyon February 14th or 15th, something. And I was like, that to me even feels too close. Like I want a total letdown period. Like I want to get out of shape. I want my body to fully have like an off season, and I feel like I won't be able to get that. And like I'm not being competitive. Like I'm not a sponsored athlete.
You
I'm
don't
not doing
know.
anything
You
crazy.
don't know.
Yeah, I kind of have a good idea, but I just think like I'm just looking at it very differently. Where I'm like, I want my hormones to like me. I want my iron to like me. My bones to and muscles to have some break.
Which like from all those standpoints of like knowing yourself as a runner, and then like not everybody's body responds the exact same. Like I'm someone too who like I want maybe 2 races a year if I'm gonna race that year, because the day-to-day really fills my bucket. Like those are my favorite runs, the everyday kind of things.
100%.
But yeah, and like to see some people like again like John, he seems to be able to handle the stress pretty well. Or like Allison Mercer, another one of our reviewers. She does road races, trail races, like pretty much all year, like fairly high intensity, not always the longest. I mean, she made the Masters World 50K team, which is pretty sweet. But like, yeah, that's a lot of intensity that, I don't know. It's impressive when you can manage that really well.
Oh, 1,000%. Like I can even tell this will be my third week of doing like, I don't want to do any more than like 85 miles in a week. Like my body just doesn't need it. It's a lot of junk miles some of the time. But I can tell like my patience is wearing thin. Like I'm ready to not be
Yeah.
doing big volume for me. And like, that's not even big volume. Like a lot of people are doing like 100-mile weeks. Like I can't do that.
Or 100
I
plus.
don't,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't think I will get sick. Like after Trans Rockies, I felt awful
Yeah.
for a week. Like I was
Well,
like,
that's one
I
of the
don't want to move.
things that I love about one sport in general, but also like I miss about coaching sport is like figuring out those intricacies
Yeah.
within athletes of who's going to respond to what and like what's best for this athlete. Like I'm a fairly low mileage athlete and can do really well, but there's also some runners I've trained that like they just eat up miles and can continue
Yeah.
to do so, you know, all the time. I do have a question though
Yeah.
pertaining to 200s.
Yes.
And you can think about this.
Okay.
If you had to do a 200, which one would you do?
Oh, I don't know if I know enough of the
Of the
races
ones you know.
that are. I
Yeah.
think I'm a desert rat through and through, so it'd probably have to be the Moab one.
Moab 240.
Yeah. And
But what
maybe I
if
would
it happened like this year and it just rained and rained and rained and rained and rained?
immediately know. Like
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
think of the worst place. The desert should only be a desert. Like that's the only time I should be in it. And if it is a monsoon, which like again, that's part of being a desert is like flash
Yeah.
floods. But
Well, and that's like part of what like people love about these types of races. You just never know. Like people
Yeah.
might get excited. Oh, this is exactly what I didn't plan for.
yeah.
Let's go.
Okay. Side tangent though, okay,
Yeah.
and this is maybe I'm waffling slightly. I have a tendency to be like a little nomadic or a little flighty, we'll call it. And
Flighty.
I have like dreams of just like checking out of like corporate America and just going and walking around like the Grand Canyon for like
You're going to be found
a
in
month.
Luna sandals and
Yeah, like
deer hides.
I am someone who would definitely not sign up for a 200 race, but I would disappear into the desert for
Yeah.
like a month.
Okay,
and
so
go
then
walk
maybe
around.
that's what we need to ask. What 200-mile effort would you do? I'll answer a race too and an effort, but I'll think of
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the Grand Canyon sounds terrible.
200
It's like
plus, I
brutal.
guess.
200
But
plus.
like, are you doing
I
the
would do
four
Pocatello Trail.
quadruple? Oh, okay.
I have
right.
ridden it already
Utah,
on my bike.
right?
It goes from Fruita, Colorado to Moab, Utah.
Oh, okay.
I've ridden it on a mountain bike. It was one of the, it was brutal.
And on that route, they have like, camp. Do they have campgrounds? There's some actually a hut system, right? Or like a bear,
Not
like
really. There's like some like you
not a
could say
system,
it
but
like this
there's a
one
few.
campground called
Yeah.
Dewey Campground. So like George did something called the Grand Loop, which you do 3 huge trail systems on your bike for a unsupported race, and it's like 360 miles. It sounded awful. I tracked him. He slept for like 6
Yeah.
hours over the course of 3 days. I was like, immediately no.
that's the stuff. Yeah.
Okay,
that's where,
what's
like-
the one you would do?
Well, I'm kind of go between like Tahoe sounds pretty cool in some ways, but I feel like the Mammoth is another one that if I had to, yeah. But I've never been to Moab, and so that like intrigues me. I know I'm really good at just staying in my neighborhood because I just love my
What?
my neck of the woods. But yeah, I know it's on my list. Don't worry, but not the Moab 240.
Actually, there's like a Moab version of Trans Rockies that's like a 3-day.
Yeah.
We should do that. Dirt Division
Team it up?
goes to the desert.
Dirt Division, Trans
Desert
Rockies,
Dirt
Moab.
Division.
I'm sure they don't. Do they call it Trans Moab?
No,
I know what you're talking
here's
about, but I
it's
can't
called.
remember what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to. Okay.
It looks-
We'll have to look that up.
Yeah, check it out.
That's
It's
okay.
probably one of my favorite places.
Okay, but if I was gonna go a 200-mile effort though, like
Soul Search.
I feel like the Superior Hiking Trail is what I would go for. You
What
know,
is
being a
that?
Minnesota boy, it cuts across the northern section of Minnesota, and so let me look it up. I think it is. It's more than 200 miles.
I have no idea. I didn't know Minnesota had a through hiking trail.
Yeah, former Believe in the Run reviewer Alex Elizabeth, who will be on here at some point.
Oh,
She
nice.
used to have the FKT for it, which is cool.
Go girl.
Superior Hiking Trail. Let's see. Any guesses? Yeah, it's 300 plus miles.
Oh my
And
God.
most of it is along the North Shore, which is so beautiful in its own way. But there's only like a few seasons that I would want to do it
Yeah.
because like summer, no. Bugs and humidity, that's one of the reasons I
Immediately
don't
no.
live there. Another reason I don't live there is because of the snow and how cold it is. Even though we live in the Colorado Rockies, it doesn't compare at all.
No.
So really you're down to if you want to do it muddy spring or potentially get what you
Yeah.
get type of fall. I'd go fall.
Okay.
Wow, that's more intriguing though. The more I talk about it, still don't want to do a 200
Oh
race,
my
but
God.
now
Okay. I would like to
we
point
talked
out that
ourselves
over the
into it.
course of like 20 minutes, we have gone from being like, I would never do a 200. These people are nuts, to slowly convincing ourselves that a soul journey by ourselves is like totally normal and doable.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Say Timmy T hops on here to Tim Tollefson. He's like, "Hey Reese, I got all accommodations and a free entry. Mammoth 200 next year."
I couldn't do it. Like, I don't know. That's such a big effort. Like, I would have to be so in and so
Yeah.
ready for it. I would be like,
And
no.
I think our minds are mostly like, as a competitive effort. Like I think
Yeah.
that's where it stops again. Like that's where it stops.
Yeah. I think if I was just like,
Nah, man.
hey,
nah.
I'm going with a friend and we're making this like a crazy adventure together and we're going to like fast pack it, and we had some support and I could sleep in a hotel or someone would set up my
Yeah.
camp and I had my Normatex. Sure.
You, you bougie little gal.
Old.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well,
We have another topic to
before
talk
we
about.
go, yeah.
Yeah.
And feel free to extend this topic in comments and whatnot, and tell us how wrong we are. Especially if
Yeah.
you've done it. Like I want to hear people's stories, and I love
Yes.
the cinema that comes out around it. Like, love all those videos of the
Agreed.
adventures and.
Maybe like
But
let's
yeah,
get
not
some
for me.
recommendations too. Like if
Ooh, yeah.
someone was sending us out on a 200, where are they sending us?
Yeah.
Not
And
to
I've
the
like
Arctic, please.
I've thought about this stuff enough to where I was like, if I was doing a 200, that's the shoe I would have. If I was doing 200, that's the pack I would wear.
You are
Like I've got
so
all that
close
figured
to
out.
tipping over the edge.
I know.
You are on the cusp of doing.
I'm
a
not
soul
really
journey.
worried about it. Let's be honest. I think about a lot of stuff.
Okay.
But I'm not worried about going into that 200-mile effort.
Okay. What
But-
is our last topic?
Our last topic, this shoe right here in front of our eyes, the Keen Seek.
Yes.
Okay, and just like first thoughts, our review of it should be coming up here pretty soon. But what are your first thoughts on this shoe? We both ran in it.
Yeah, I judged it too quickly. I'll be honest. I was eating humble pie when I ran
Sames.
in it.
Yeah.
It's like a shoe that I would take almost anywhere. Like if I was like, I have to bring a casual shoe and my running shoe, and I can only like one carry on. What am I bringing? It's probably that one for most things. It's like honestly like
Yeah.
better than the Catamount 4. It's stable.
Yeah. Yeah.
The tread is like indestructible. And that's why I would like, it's at a good price point that I would just like wear the hell out of it.
Because like 185 is its price point, and that's like, you know, on the higher end for a general trail shoe. But I think the durability would hold up enough, and you get the similar experience throughout the life of the shoe. Like
It says
this
they last
quantum,
925 miles.
yeah, this Quantum Foam X is neither of us know exactly the material it is, but it has to be a supercritical EVA is what I'm guessing. It feels so similar to a lot of, the Brooks nitrogen infused midsoles.
It's way better than that, though.
So it's, and like, I think to your point with the Catamount 4, there's just so much going on in there, and it became so stiff. This is like a fairly similar density, a little softer, I would say, this Quantum Foam X. It's a little higher tooth, so 39 in the heel and 33 in the forefoot, I think. And so it's like high stack, but it doesn't feel high stack. It was stable enough. It was nimble enough. It was cushioned enough. But yeah, I don't mind a firmer midsole. I wouldn't say this is firm, but it's very medium. And I
was gonna say, I felt like that, like when I landed, like the heel stability is like pretty like noticeable.
Yeah.
Where
but not like overtaking. And that's the type of stability I really don't like.
Yeah.
Like if it's controlling your foot.
It's just like an all around good shoe to have. And there wasn't like a whole lot that I was like, oh man, this is wrong. I was like, this is like for a first like real go at a shoe, like very shocked at how great it is. Especially when we think about some of the bigger brands that maybe missed this year. That I was like, man, Keen, where did you come from? They make another trail shoe too, but I don't think
it's a gravel shoe. And I didn't even, somebody asked on Instagram this week if we're doing it. And I'm like, I didn't even know they had a gravel shoe that came out at the same time. So I think we need to get that in. It looks like virtually the same. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw it and I was like, wait, I want that one.
Yeah.
That one looks cool.
And I think that one is actually $160. So if it gives you a fairly similar experience with a little less lug, like
sign me up.
So I think we should, Keen, hit us up.
Hit us up or take us to Portland. Let me come run around in Portland.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Is that where they're based?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I've never been to Portland either. I don't get out enough.
Okay.
I guess.
We gotta get you out. We gotta get the Dirt Division on a road trip.
Okay.
Oh my God, we could get a van.
Dude, see, that's going to be a whole nother conversation. That was, I pitched that to Robbie and he was in, and then it was a harder sell to Megan and Thomas. Like, wouldn't it be awesome to go from like, Robbie started in a van in Baltimore, drove across, picked us up in Colorado. We continue on to Broken Arrow, TrailCon, Western States, and just make it a Dirt Division
Brady Bunch.
quest.
I'm here for it. Sign me up.
I mean, if we can get a van, if we can get a van and like a sponsor to fund it, so much content for one. But I think that's what will. And that's what I'm going to sell it for. Like Megan and Thomas. Sorry, they said they would. We got it all. Yeah. Let's go.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's actually the comment section that we need. Is
maybe Keen.
We need every single person that listens to this to comment that we should have a van.
So the three of you that are listening, if you know somebody.
My mom and George definitely will comment.
Yep.
Get your wife to comment. Get Dawn to comment.
I don't know if she's listened to any of the Dirt Division ones yet. She faithfully listens to the other ones. Yeah, I just listened out of like somewhat obligation.
Yeah.
And I found myself enjoying our conversation, so maybe that says something.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what did I just say? Yeah.
A lot of word vomit.
Yeah. But that's okay. That's what we're here for.
No, this is good. And okay. Okay, I'm excited. I'm not going to run 200 anytime soon, but...
Ooh, anytime soon. You put that on there.
Oh, yeah. Man, I'm leaving the door.
You're the one. You're the one
really
who's
cracked
actually...
open.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. This was a good week.
It's a good week. And it's still like fall. It's still fall weather. So I'm feeling good about my chances of getting some running in this fall.
Yeah. Also, before we go, I've just been looking at your shirt, and it's that green. And I have been running in the Satisfy fuzz fleece, which is a similar color.
Okay.
And
what do they call that? What color?
Grenoble.
Grenoble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one?
When you run around town in that shirt, you get You get a lot of second. You can see people looking
Yeah.
at you. They're doing the double take. They're like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Just
She is
because of the color?
visible. Yeah. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
and in your area too, there's bound to be someone who knows like that's a Satisfy shirt, cool.
I
Where a lot
yesterday
of
ran,
places wouldn't be like that.
yeah, yesterday it was a Satisfy top, Arc'teryx shorts, and Norda the O5s. And I was
Oh,
like, I
you're
have
running in over
peaked.
$1,000 a gear.
I have peaked in my running apparel. I'm still like wearing like shirts from 2002, but
Yeah, yeah. But that's very
here we are.
Satisfy of you as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But anyway, I'm loving
okay.
that Satisfy thing.
Yep.
This was fun. I'll talk to you next week.
We'll talk to you next week when we talk about JFK.
JFK, and it's my birthday coming up.
Exactly. Okay, so looking forward to party plans. Hey, this is Taylor with Believe in the Run, and today on The Drop, we're talking to Parley Hannan, and you may have heard that name in many different spaces. It's not often that we get such versatile runners on this podcast. A lot of times, runners of her caliber are stuck to kind of one scheme. Maybe that be track, maybe that be road or trails, ultra, whatever. But she happens to play in all of these spaces and does really well. Today, Parley Hannan, she's fresh off of being out in Mammoth for the Mammoth 200. So we'll get to talking about that. But otherwise, Parley, welcome to The Drop.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah. I'm just looking at your Northwoods Athletics profile here, which for those of you that don't know about Northwoods Athletics, it's a premier professional run club. Do you guys call yourself a run club?
It's more, I would say, like the team is more of a professional team, and then there's a lower tier, which is like the club aspect of it.
Okay. Yeah. And so like a lot of fans would be familiar with like Bowerman. So it's a very similar vibe, but this is not in the Northwest. This is far northeast. Where's Northwoods located? Where do you guys train out of?
Northwoods is based out of Hanover, New Hampshire. And we were all kind of concentrated there for a year or two. And now we've kind of all kind of dispersed into various locations. So we don't really train in one place anymore, which is a bit unfortunate, but also I think allows us all to have the flexibility of living those separate lives that we enjoy to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and just looking at the broader team that Northwoods has, and there's some people running hard miles and 5Ks on the track, some people doing short course trail running, some people like you doing multi-day events, or even going for the marathon trials. So there's quite a variety. Are you all coached by the same coach?
Yeah, Ben True is our coach. So I feel like most people in the running world know that name, but he's like, I think he still holds the road American 5K record. But yeah, he's
Which
awesome.
is very
and
fast.
Now is the head. Yeah, and is now the head coach at Dartmouth too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and he's someone that if I'm 33 years old. So if you're about my age, that's someone you really looked up to if you were into the track world. Like he was in his heyday when we were in high school, college, and just someone who, crushing on the roads and then later into road marathons, much like you as well. So let's get into your background though. You just, again, by looking at your profile here on Northwoods, it says you are the resident as Energizer Bunny, and that you didn't come to running early on in your life like many of us did. Can you give us a little background?
Yeah. So I grew up always playing a lot of sports, primarily soccer, but didn't really start. I didn't start running until college, and basically I've always found that when I was on a team, that's when I was most at home, and that's when I felt I made the best relationships. And then when I went off so I did that through high school. And then when I went off to college, I really started to struggle more with like my mental health. And so like I was kind of just like pushing through with not really an outlet to sports. I mean, I would occasionally go on runs, but I was more just like, taking part in the traditional like freshman, sophomore year college life experience. And then I like really started to struggle more mentally and took a year off. And I signed up for like a half credit tennis class when I transferred to my third school, Ithaca. And then the tennis coach was like, "Hey, you're pretty good at this. Like, do you want to join the team?" And so I joined the tennis team and realized how much I really or was reminded again about how much I loved being a part of a team. And so I did that for the year, and
And did you
I
ever
wanted to.
play tennis in high school? Like, was that one of the sports you did?
No, I never played in high school, but I grew up like playing tennis with my family.
Okay.
And by no means am I like an excellent tennis player, but like for a Division 3 team that doesn't
Mhm.
really have like a ton of traction for tennis at their school, I was like, I was usually like second to last on the 8-person roster, but still like playing tennis in college, like it was
Good
cool.
enough athlete
Um,
to really, really do something, I guess.
Yeah. And then but like tennis just wasn't my sport. It just like didn't, and it especially I think more so also like, or not necessarily more so, but it also really wasn't my people. And so I was like, okay, well, I know being a part of a team is really helping me get through college, and feels really good to be a part of a team. But like, how can I do that without the sport being like tennis and finding more of my people? And so I reached out to the cross country coach, because I remembered how close my brother and sister were with their cross country teams. They both ran growing
Mm.
up. And then I tried out for the team, and I made the team.
So,
Um,
as a college age student, were you coming to these realizations about like needing a team and a community on your own, or was there like someone helping you walk through that? Because it's like quite a mature thing to just like realize on by yourself. Like,
yeah, I came to it on my own. Um, I think that I I don't want to. I think there's always been like a pretty wise part of me that has a pretty good understanding, honestly, of what is helpful for me, and
mhm,
like what nurtures me the most, but have a really hard time actually implementing it.
mm,
So that kind of felt like one of those things that I recognized was important for me, and didn't really seem very difficult to implement. Um, you know, Joining a team in college, it's like all the resources are kind of like given to you.
mhm,
You just are given these times to show up for practice. It's not any money out of your pocket. Um, I guess besides, buying running shoes and things like that, because Division
mhm.
3, you don't get like sponsored, nothing's paid for.
Yeah, yeah, and
Um,
scholarships are kind of a weird thing.
yeah.
D3, yeah.
And I think I just felt like I really didn't have any other option if I wanted to get through school. I hit some like very low lows. That was like my third year I took off from school. Um, had been to treatment for my depression.
Hmm.
Like was almost hospitalized for my eating disorder. I just was running out of I was running out of
Yeah.
options. And so joining a team felt like honestly a saving grace. So even though I came to acknowledging that on my own, it felt like I felt fortunate that there was something that was pretty easily accessible to
Yeah,
me.
absolutely. Did you know any of the team members before you joined?
I did not know.
Okay. And then, like, as you got into cross country, I know you did track as well eventually, but as you got into cross country, did you kind of quickly find that unique sense of community? Because, I mean, I've been a cross country coach, also did cross country college and high school. And that was the one thing that kept me coming back, even as a coach, as an adult, of like being able to cultivate that community with such. It's such an eclectic bunch of people that it's pretty easy to let your guard down and make really great relationships. Like that was my experience and the experience I tried to give to others through coaching. Like, did you have that experience pretty quickly or?
Absolutely, yeah. I felt like I immediately like found my people, which feels like even just thinking about that makes me like emotional because I know that that was like a
Yeah.
really. I mean, when you're like suffering in life that much and you just find a community that embraces you, it just feels like a rarity. And yeah, no, I finally it was just like a breath of like it was just like a hug, you know,
Yeah.
because I
A
feel like
little
the community.
oasis.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And my coach was awesome too, so it wasn't even just like my teammates; it was the mom of our team as well,
Yeah.
having a second mom, and she really became that for me.
Yeah. Everybody has those like extra moms once you're on a team like that
Yeah,
and like places to go. And yeah, it's hard. Like I haven't had that experience anywhere else in life. Besides like the track and cross country teams in college of like that close community is, yeah, even as an adult, even being in the running community all the time, like
yeah,
it's so rare, like you said. So that's, yeah. And motivating too. Like I always found myself most motivated by the people I was around because there was just such great people. Like you wanted to work hard with them and for them and realize kind of who you wanted to be because of
yeah,
the community. So then,
absolutely.
like, what were some of the following steps? Because you don't just become a 5K indoor record holder for Division 3 overnight. So like, how did you get from like just joining the cross country team to that kind of level of really elite level running? Because at that level, I mean, I know you were on the podcast with Noah Droddy, D3 Glory
Yeah,
Days. Like when you're setting records for the division, there's really no line between you and any other division. Like that's elite is elite in that sense. And
yeah.
so how did you get there? Like what motivated you to get there? Is this just like your natural thing? You can just hop into everything and do really well? Like
Definitely not. You know, my mom always says like my sister was kind of the one who could just kind of like walk into anything and be really good at it, but I was that person who really
is
had
she
to
the
work.
oldest?
She's the middle, but like
Oh,
the
okay.
oldest of us two girls.
Gotcha.
Um, and
Yeah, that's my sister too, and she's the middle. Ugh.
yeah, and so was she good at everything too?
Everything still is.
Yeah. Um, it was a bit of a pain in the ass, but honestly, like it like you know gives you something to work for like towards I
Mm.
guess. And now you know now I'm out there running 200 miles, so I can like hold that over her head.
Yeah. Yeah, not
um,
many people are doing that, let's be honest.
yeah. But uh, so I can you remind me? Wait, can you remind me of the question? Sorry.
Yeah, so like you happened to join the cross country team, found your people. But how did you
Yeah.
get from like just joining
Oh yes. Yeah.
randomly
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you never ran before this, like at least in an organized way?
I honestly, it was kind of that continual. path down wanting to like feel better. So like when I joined the team, I was still like, I had found my people, but I was still like, dealing with my depression and dealing with these other things. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was still in this process of like reflecting and trying to figure out ways in which, I could be happier on like a day to day basis. And so, I was like taking like medication for my depression, and I was like, smoking a lot of weed still, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I kind of just like decided that I wanted to just like take away any excess things that were clouding my brain. Like not to demonize like any of those things.
Of
But
course.
for
Yeah.
me personally, I just like I needed to step away to just like be clearer headed and just like feel myself, because I think that
Mm-hmm.
despite even if I was still myself, like on medications or whatever, I wanted to just like know that who I was purely. And so I did that and then just started, I don't know, I just started running. I just started running more miles and just like, honestly, just more focusing on just trying to get like 3 meals a day and just taking better care of my mind and my body. And I
Mm-hmm.
just started to get faster. So I ran cross country that first year. Then I went away for an immersion semester. And then so I only ran for that cross country season. And then I came back and um, I ran into my coach in the grocery store that summer in Ithaca, and she's like, oh my gosh, like you're glowing. Like, are you excited for 2 weeks from now for preseason? I'm like, yeah. And I show up to preseason, and I'm just like, I'm feeling like a different person. And then, like, literally from that moment on, and starting to do workouts, like, uh, I just was like PRing and practices, PRing every race, um, you know, winning basically every race
Mm-hmm.
until it really was winning every race. Um,
I
and
feel
yeah,
like y yeah, you hit on something that, like, even as a pro runner, like, we kind of, a lot of people will elevate people like you into terms of like, they must be doing something extra and beyond, which many people don't. But what you're kind of saying is like the basics, like really focusing on the basics at a human level for you is what really elevated you to a higher level of performance and hopefully happiness and just enjoying this process. And it's really not that different even in your pro state right now, right? Like really just nailing the basics is the best thing for you.
yeah. And I think also like can be one of the hardest for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So then like I remember watching, I'm a big fan of track and field and marathon. I'm a trail guy, like that's my world.
Yeah.
But I pretty much watch everything that comes around. And I remember seeing you run this indoor 5K just on, online, seeing this happen. And can you talk about like that, being able to run a record setting for not just like a meet,
Yeah.
but a division setting time of like going from, again, like not even a runner once you entered college to setting the record, like that trajectory just doesn't happen
Yeah.
often.
Yeah. It's, I feel like there's so many emotions. Like I haven't thought about that race in a really long time. And, I love the trail world, but sometimes when I think back to that, that world, it feels so like far away. And there were so many good moments there. But it was one of like the most incredible like experience. If I like put all that, missing it aside,
Mm-hmm.
it was one of the most incredible like experiences that I've experienced in my running career. I think you talk about when you're like winning all the races at a D3 level, you're kind of that elite level. It's like because I was there, never really had any competition. After I won cross country nationals, like I really didn't have any competition. So like to
Mm-hmm.
be finally at a race where it was my first time with a field of D1 athletes was pretty spectacular. And I remember I was supposed to be in like the fast heat. Jenny Simpson was in my race, and like, Danny Jones from CU. And
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to be in that heat, and then they kicked me out for a rabbit. Leanne Farber, who actually ran for New Balance and now is a good friend of mine, but wasn't at the time. She had no idea who I was. And so I was kicked out of the race so she could be, a pacer. And I immediately am like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. I like text my parents and I'm like, they like kicked me out for an effing rabbit. And meanwhile, my dad is like, what the hell is a rabbit? Like, and,
What a dad thing.
two Christmas, like last Christmas, actually, it was funny. My mom got me for my Christmas. We don't really do presents, but she got me a bunny onesie. And so when I opened it, I thought it was like absolutely hilarious because not only was like, I kicked out for the rabbit in that story, but I also
Mm-hmm.
paced Rob through TSP. So it was just like, it was
Yeah.
funny. But anyways, my coach went and talked to the race director and was like, look, this is like the D3 national cross country champion. And like, she is like, needs to be in this race. And my PR at the time, I think was like either a 1650 or a 1701 for the 5K.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk away from the race running a 1605. But like, and I ran the
Which
whole
did you
thing.
feel like you had something like that in you? Like, or
Yeah.
you just
And I think
didn't know?
I
Okay.
think I honestly could have
Yeah.
run faster. Well, I'm not someone who's ever thought about times. I've always been like
Yeah.
off a feel. But like when I reflect back on the race, I really do think that like I could have gone faster. And I ran the whole thing in the second lane because D1 athletes, they throw
It's
arms.
so deep. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was getting people were throwing arms at me, and that never happened to me. And so I was like, okay, like F this. I'm running in the second lane for this whole race. But yeah, no, it was thrilling. It was like and to hug my coach at the end, to be at the BU, like whatever they call it's not the oval, but whatever they call the
Is
BU
it the armor?
stadium.
No, not the armory.
I don't know, but there's a
No.
BU energy.
Exactly. Yeah.
And to be amongst that was just, yeah, it was thrilling.
Yeah. And then have you like those types of experiences as a runner? Again, just don't happen very often.
Yeah.
Have you found that in some of these other pursuits? Like you made it to the marathon trials, winner of TSP, and we'll get into some of these a little more specifically. Like, or is it just that much different? Because I mean, between running track and roads, that almost feels like a different sport. And then when you're adding trails into there, that's like a very different sport of like, is it at all comparable crossing over between all these endurance sports, running, but endurance?
I'd say like, the marathon like was like running. Thing is like going to endurance and trail, it's like you don't really get that speed anymore. So they're pretty different. But I think like the marathon, like being really fast in that, running like the 2:33 for my first one, it was like you
That's just
you
nuts.
you're feeling like it's a similar feeling, but like for that I'm running 550 pace. For the 5K I'm running like low fives, and I haven't touched that in years. So it's really different. And honestly, I and I don't know if this is a healthy thing or not.
Hmm.
Um, I try not to think about it too much because I think comparison, um, not just when you're comparing yourself to other people, but when you're comparing, I think, life events to like past life events, at least for me, it can be a tricky thing because
Hmm.
I've been in so many unhealthy places. Um, and I don't
Yeah.
want to like it's hard to like play that game of comparison.
Yeah, because all of a sudden one becomes on a pedestal and other things
Yeah.
feel lesser, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
So then in your progression as a runner, we've ticked off cross country in college, then to track, then you went to marathon on the roads. Was that a seamless thing or did you take a little break?
It definitely wasn't seamless. It was like I kept up the miles, and I got out of college. It was like I don't know if what like here I have just been like progressing and progressing running wise. Like, do I want to do this professionally? And then also just being thrown into the real world of like, okay, now I don't have structure of
Hmm.
college. What am I doing? So I just started like just running a lot. College high miles would be like maybe I'd hit 90, and then I quickly like got up to like 150, and then eventually was running
Wow.
like 200 miles a week for like a year and a half. I
So you come by
literally,
these crazy events that we'll talk about honestly, like
yeah,
you're just somebody who went there.
yeah, I, yeah, I helped start up an ice cream company pretty much right out of college. And I eventually got to a point when I was just waking up running 30 miles a day and then going and working for 9, 10 hours. And it was super unhealthy. I just like wasn't taking care of myself, but I was like, running high mileage.
Were you
And
enjoying those miles or were you just going out to go
a
out
lot,
like to fill
a lot
time?
of it wasn't enjoyable. I felt great after because I would
Yeah.
like feel that running high, but I wasn't eating enough. Uh, I was so depressed and so irritable if I didn't get that run in. And that's actually what led me to eating disorder treatment because I was doing that for literally like a year and a half of running 30 miles a day. And sometimes I would like take an off day, but very rarely. And if I
Hmm.
did take an off day, I couldn't leave the couch. Um, and so one of those off days happened, and then I'm just depressed at home, couldn't leave the couch. And then I wake up 5 a.m. for like, before work to do that run. The second day after taking the day off, and I ran down the street and I couldn't do it again. And 2 days in a row was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And so I just like sat on the curb there, called out of work and called my best friend and was just basically like, I can't do this anymore. Like, and I just broke down. I just was like, I am so tired. And throughout this time, I had like thought potentially about eating disorder treatment. Um, but then I would go on a run and I'd be like, oh no, I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I called my dad after I talked to my friend on the curb for a while because he lived right next door. And I was like, I got to go to eating disorder treatment, and I have to go now. And so my dad made the phone calls, like was able to like pull some strings and get me admitted to the program in like 3 days. And I was
Hmm.
like, I flew out a day and a half later, um, and went to eating disorder treatment for 4 months. And then I came back and started running again. Uh, Still high mileage.
Were you
But
were
like,
you able to run during this time you were at this program?
no,
Or was it
there was
okay?
like, yeah. And that's like a whole, I
We don't
wasn't
have to
allowed
go
any
into it if you don't
physical.
want to.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I wasn't allowed
Okay.
any physical activity whatsoever. And at first that was really healthy for me. You know, my body was so broken, it needed like 2 weeks, a month just to like completely chill.
Reset. Yeah.
But eating disorders are so complex. So like, you know, the idea of like wanting to be really like considerate about whether or not someone's using exercise as a form, as like a disordered pattern, is like, I totally get why it's important. But I also think as humans, like movement is important, like just going on like a walks, which weren't really allowed. So there was just like things it just didn't necessarily feel, it helped me in a lot of ways, but there was definitely a lot of things that I felt like it wasn't, that were taking away from my recovery as well. But eating disorders are so tricky, you know, like they're they can be so manipulative. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's a whole podcast that could be, you know, a
Well,
thousand
oh, of course.
podcasts that could be talked about there.
And I mean, that's like kind of life. Like often we want to try to paint something as black and white, but most of life is like in this gray area, right? Of deciphering
Yeah.
and figuring out all the nuances.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like, once I got out of treatment and started running again, I like relatively quickly got back up to like, you know, 100, 150 miles a week, somewhere around that range. And that, and then I'm just, it all like, you know, as time, I used to like know the story exactly of like how it all
Exactly.
looked. And now
Yeah.
as more time has passed, I'm like, wait, how exactly?
Well, and kind of
But
major things can
yeah,
happen in
yeah,
between there too. Yeah.
for sure. So ultimately I just kept running 100, 150 miles a week. And then it was just all miles. And then occasionally I was living in Boston at the time, so I would like jump into runs with some of like my guy friends in Boston, and like I would pick up the pace for some of the runs. So when I say that, I'd like, you know, some of these 20-mile runs, instead of like my typical 6:50 to 7:15 minute pace, I would do at like 6:30 pace. And then I just decided to sign up for a 20-mile race, did the 20-mile race, ended up doing it OTQ pace. And my friends were like, what the hell, Parley? Like, like you should run a marathon. And then I was like, okay. And then I looked up marathons in the next like 3 or 4 weeks. And then I found a marathon in Carmel, Indiana. And I reached out, signed up, drove out to Indiana 3 weeks later, ran the marathon, ran a 2:33. And that was kind of the start into like deciding, okay, I guess I'll give professional running a shot.
And was that when you decided to go into this professional space, were you thinking like, I'm going to really nail down this marathon distance? Or were you open already to going to different distances, terrain, that kind of stuff?
It was definitely nailing down the marathon distance. It was like, you know, I had, after, you know, finding Ben's team, after like struggling to really find a team that I liked, I was like, came up with this whole plan that, you know, everyone was going to be going hard at the Olympic trials. And what I would do is I would use like the Olympic trials as my first proper marathon build. And then I would race Boston as like my big pro debut, hopefully get like a shoe contract. And that was my intention. And then and then I ran TSP, and then I got injured. And then
Yeah.
I got injured. So that was
So
kind of
then was your injury because of TSP?
no.
Which for listeners like those in this niche running space, could you describe what is TSP?
Yeah, so TSP stands for the Speed Project, and I like, basically it's like a organization or like event that's
Yeah.
run three times a year in various places. It used to be just and traditionally, like, it's like a 300-mile distance roughly. And right now they have three races, and one is from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, one is in the Atacama Desert, and then another one is in Chamonix, to the south of France. And it's kind of this unsanctioned event, like no spectators, kind of like there's a solo portion, there's a relay portion. Solo runners run the whole distance themselves, mostly with a crew vehicle with them who like just holds all their stuff. And some do it unsupported. And then there's a relay team as well, relay option as well. And they just break that up into whatever segments they want. And then it's basically get from point A to point B as fast as you can.
And the times you've done it, you've only done it solo, right?
Only done it solo, yeah.
Yeah. And you've done multiple of those events.
Yes. So the one right before the trials, my first TSP was when I paced Rob in the Atacama Desert, and he won. And I ran 240 out of those 290 miles with him.
That's silly. That's just silly.
It was silly, but also really incredible.
Yeah.
And then I went back the next year to do Atacama. And then I just did LALV this past year. So now I've run
In both Atacama and the one this year, the traditional one, you're the champ.
I am.
Yeah.
So every TSP I've done, I've been either the winner or a part of the winning team.
Oh, wow. That's a resume builder. Even in this like it's a very niche thing.
Yeah.
It's also like I've never been a part of it, but it seems like they try to make it this kind of like underground type event. You just all of a sudden it happens and it's going. And nowadays with social media, there's a little more glow up with it. Like we get to follow along and see how some things are going. But for the most part, you're just really out there with you and your crew doing this challenge and occasionally meeting other runners, right?
Yeah.
Like what's the day-to-day with the TSP?
The day-to-day. Honestly, like, for the most part, it was pretty solo with like me and my crew. Like we didn't really see a lot of people out on the course. Occasionally, like we'd see another crew people, but usually it was a pretty like individual to my team thing, which I honestly really liked. I guess but then sometimes it's like you see someone and it really gets the race started. So like this past LALV, I was, injured going into the race, didn't run for 3 months before the race, and then went straight into running this race.
So you were well rested.
Yeah, well rested, but not really because I was doing a lot of elliptical, but my legs were just shot because I would not recommend to anyone running or not running for 3 months and then
Parley Hannan training plan for
yeah,
TSP.
don't ever. And anyways, I'm like, there's a segment called Powerline on the LALV route, and it's like death, honestly. It's just so awful. And I just like walked that whole section, like that whole 18-mile section for like, I don't know how many, 6 hours. And
this is exposed through deserts. And like, is a lot of the terrain, I know there's a lot of road, but are there just like a lot of like B-level roads, gravel, that kind of stuff too?
oh, that's what Powerline was. It was like, take little gravel and then like make it like 5 times the size. So it was just so awful to walk on. And it was terrible. Like so bad. how I got through it was like all thanks to like my team, honestly. But so I finish the 6 hours of walking. You know, once you finish power
Oh,
line,
that's a day.
once you're at power line, you get to Prim. And then when you're at Prim, there's like only 30 miles left of the Vegas sign. And anyways, I'm like finishing power line. I'm like, oh, thank God. Like, thank God. And then I look behind me, and less than a quarter mile behind me is second place. And we had been told basically, or people insinuated that we had like got it locked in the bag. And I look back and I see Holly, and I'm like, holy shit. And I immediately like, you know, here I am wearing like a baggy shirt, and like I'm really just like in it for the vibes at this point, because I'm like, that's the only thing that's going to keep me going if I'm just in it for the
Yeah.
vibes. And then I just start running. And then I'm like, I tell my crew, I'm like, I'm not stopping running. And I'm like
So
I'm stripping as I'm running. I'm like putting sunscreen on as I'm running. I'm like, game on. And yeah, I basically didn't stop running except when I had to, my injury really flared up like 15 miles from Las Vegas. And I was in
in
so much,
what
I
kind of
was in
injury are we talking about?
like a hamstring. The thing
Oh,
with my injuries, unfortunately, is they never get a proper diagnosis.
and they're just bad
But
enough that you feel it mechanically messes you up, but you can run through
mhm.
it because, you know, we need to run, right?
Yeah. But sometimes like, I literally can't run through it, and then that's what I got to. But then I just was like, Parley, pain is temporary. Pain is temporary. You're okay. And I just started using my pole as like a second leg. My form was quite interesting. But yeah, I didn't
After
stop.
nearly 300 miles. Oh,
Yeah, I didn't stop. And but yeah, other than that one occurrence, it's usually a pretty like, I think that's part of the reason I love it. It's just like it's such an adventure, and it's such a personal journey with like the people you choose to go on that personal journey with, and it's yeah. So,
so, I mean, at the finish line then, like, you know, you have the champagne, I'm sure, doing that whole thing, excitement. What do you eat right after?
uh, it
Or were you
really,
just wrecked?
after the LALV one, I was in a significant amount of pain. Like I going from 0 to literally 300 was like my legs were screaming. Like I don't remember the last time I was in that much pain, and my
I don't
legs
even
were
want to imagine.
yeah, my legs were so swollen. But I got Greek food. I got like a really good like chicken, like Mediterranean chicken plate, and like these feta fries, and like knocked down a ton of like Advil,
Yeah.
PM, and like chugged 2 glasses of champagne, and like just like, not that that's the best combination, but I was like,
But
I
it's
need
what
this
your
pain to
body
go away. And I ate all the food, and then I just passed out. And yeah.
for 3 days and then came out of your coma. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
No.
So then,
I
like, when you finish something like that, like some people are like, never again am I doing something like that. Or did you know, like, okay, I already have Mammoth on the schedule, something like that?
I mean, I know I want to do it again, but I didn't. Like the thing with also being injured is like I don't know what's gonna come next. Honestly,
Hmm.
I kind of figured that I would do Chamonix. That's kind of what I figured. Like I'll do Chamonix in August, but then no one wanted to sponsor my doing it. I was like, I'll just go for the Triple Crown. I won Atacama. I won LALV. Like, let me go for the trifecta. But
Hmm.
no one wanted to pay, or no one wanted or could pay for me to go. So I just was like, I can't afford to pay my own way. So
Yeah, yeah. Those are huge
yeah,
undertakings. But I mean, that's different now. Like just last week, it was announced
yeah,
by Hylo that you are their first sponsored athlete.
yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah. Does it feel weird? Like that's, like, you know, for an athlete like you, having the support of a brand,
Yeah.
any brand, but also one that's significant, one that's exciting and upcoming, like that can mean the world. It can
Yeah.
change a lot of things for you as an athlete.
I honestly feel like it hasn't really hit me completely yet. I feel like I'm still dealing with like the Mammoth aftermath. Uh, and I'm not gonna lie, it was super overwhelming, like being out um, in Mammoth with all
Mm-hmm.
that going on. You know, like here I am, like my first real like professional ultra, and then I'm like spending the week prior to it just like taking photo shoots and
Mm-hmm.
for Hylo and Cieli and Stance and Utu and all these brands that are so generous to support me. But like I've never been a big content creator.
Mm-hmm.
Um and before races, it's like a very personal, like I don't know, it's like a it's shooting content isn't usually what like who I am and like what I
Yeah.
do. So it's just it was all very overwhelming for me.
Yeah. A different experience for sure. And not to mention that this particular race, even though it had a field of, well, it was like 137 athletes
Yeah.
signed up, like, especially on the women's side, it was one of the most elite fields for a women's 200-mile race, 200 plus mile race.
Yeah.
So like, what does that at all get in your head of like, was that exciting to you to be there as like, I mean, everybody knew that the winner of TSP is here. Like, is all that in your mind?
Um I honestly felt like no one knew who I was. Like I feel like I just felt like it was kind of like the Rachel Tara show. And I honestly was like fine with that because like I didn't need any like attention on me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have like already with the content stuff, I think that would have like made it worse. Um, but it definitely was like, okay, like I'm here winning, like here running with like, you know, the I think highest paid women's like ultra runner,
Mm-hmm.
like Tara and the winner of Cocodona and like these two really badass women. So it definitely was like, okay, this is cool. But I think that like these things have always been a super personal thing for me. So when, you know, they came up to me to interview me before the race and were like, oh, are you really excited? Who are you most excited to race against? I was like, they didn't even post the video because I was so awkward because I was like, I'm not really like excited to race against like maybe during the race I would have gotten excited maybe, but
Mm-hmm.
like it's such a personal these things are so yeah, they're just such a personal
Yeah.
thing. I just don't really feel like an outside factor is like if you're racing someone else's race, like if you're racing like in a marathon, I think if you chase someone, it's like okay, you can probably like there's someone you can find to do that. At 200-mile, it's just like so hard to do that. At least for me
So
personally,
many
like
factors. Oh, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
doing a 50-mile race has enough factors, let alone doing 200 miles in deep wilderness. You
yeah,
know, there's so many factors. But I
yeah,
like my one of my college coaches had always talked about competing with others rather than against, and that always helped me too because I completely agree that this running thing, no matter if you're running an 800 or 200 miles or multi-day on the AT for however many days, like yeah, it is personal from the beginning, right? And that's like why we're doing this, even though community itself, like you, community within running has played a huge role in my life, and that's like why I'm here doing this kind of stuff. But
yeah,
at the, like I'm always enjoying most being out there on the trail alone or with a few people who are really personal to me. Like
yeah.
that's the reward of all this.
No, I
So
totally agree.
then So then, obviously, you know, Mammoth didn't go the way you were hoping, from potentially being a winner on that level, or like even just the idea of like getting to experience all 214 miles of that course. Like that's an exciting thing. It didn't go your way. How are you feeling after that experience?
I just want to make sure. Can you hear my dog barking?
You can a little bit, but we can cut it down. So
Okay.
no worries. Yeah.
Okay. Let me know if it becomes an issue.
No, you're good.
I feel like I'm feeling a lot of different things, and they like ebb and flow. I'd say like the day after the race, like when I woke up, I honestly felt like a lot better than I thought I was gonna be. Like I was super happy to be there with my crew. I went out and we got coffee and then we went out on a run, and it like I felt like pretty happy. And then so this is all like the mental side of things. And then the next day though, then I felt like really sad. I felt like I think when I like decided to drop, there was so many factors that I was not certain as to why I actually really decided to do it. I don't know if it was because I emotionally wasn't in it. I don't know if it was because my sister's been at all these things with me and she wasn't there, and I had a group of strangers, literally like most of my crew besides one I had never spent really any time with. And I just been meeting them. Or was it really because physically I just wasn't there? There were so many questions. And I think like now at this very moment, I think I feel like I made the right decision given the circumstances I was in. But I'm really bummed. I'm like already actively looking like, okay, what 200-mile route in the Northeast can I go out and like do this month and like get my sister and my family to come crew me and just like do an adventure for me, because I feel like I really wanted it and I was looking forward to it. And yeah, it's disappointing and it's frustrating, but I also need to like, I think that that's part of the journey. And I think that like I spent a lot of time like trying to decide whether or not I wanted to drop or not, like after mile 35, when I had been walking and had walked for like 5 miles, and then I was like, I'm done. And then I passed out in the dirt for 2.5 hours. And then I walked another 3 miles. And then I was like, I ate a lot of food. And then I was like, okay, I can keep going. And it was basically like almost 12 hours of my like,
Oh my gosh.
of like my saying, like, should I drop? Should I not? And I just like, I gave it a good shot.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, as well as anybody of like, especially in these long endeavors, like there's always a chance to come back around. Like there's likely a good something that, maybe it's the nutrition needs to be different. Maybe you just need to slow down. Maybe you need to sleep in the dirt for 2.5 hours. There's like something that can help you to continue to go. And that's why I feel like these long ultras are so intriguing, but it's also like kind of dangerous, right? Of like, you just spent 12 hours contemplating, is this right? Is it wrong?
Yeah.
Should I, shouldn't I? Yeah. So, I mean, I had told you before our call, like I experienced my first DNF as well. And I don't want to like push my article on you, but I also like had a really hard time writing an article to like summarize that, because the thought process you're going through, even if it is a fairly clean thing, like I had an injury, I maybe shouldn't have even done the race itself. Like it was a fairly clean thing, but once your mind, even when you decide it's the right thing, as an athlete, I feel like and maybe just as a human, like I started getting these like ruminations of like, well, now that, I just wasted a lot of people's resources and this and that. And like disappointment opened this door to shame. And like, maybe that's just not talked about as much in our sport, of like the idea of like wanting to progress and be better and being disappointed, but there's so much of a shame culture put around performance. Did you like, I wrestled with that for a little while. Is that something you've wrestled with too?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was lying in the dirt for 2.5 hours, I like took a video of myself, and I posted it to my Instagram. And part of me is like, why the hell did you do that? And I'm still kind of embarrassed for doing it. But I really think that like you bring up shame, and I think that that's exactly like so much of what I was feeling. I felt so ashamed for so many reasons. I felt like I brought this whole crew out. I had all this support, and I felt ashamed that I couldn't pull through for them. I felt like ashamed for like myself not being able to like do it. And then I also felt like shame for like feeling that way. Like, why, Parley, can't you
Yeah,
make this
exactly.
decision
Yeah. Yeah.
and not feel that shame? Like, why can't you be okay with this? And
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I wanted to share that video, because I just think that like there's this idea when you do these races that like the finish line is the only success, and that really hurts, because I think what that statement speaks to is the amount of pressure we put on ourselves. And yeah, we're ultra runners and we do these really badass things, but we also struggle a lot with our own inner critics, our own shame that we feel on a day-to-day basis. And it's the lack of self-compassion that I see others, and especially that I see myself deal with, is just
Mm-hmm.
so sad. And so I think when we can speak about that and we can share that, my only hope is that that can reach other people so they
Yeah.
can understand that it's okay to feel these things.
Yeah. Well, and like, yeah, like, even though you might feel like your effort was a failure in that sense, like in the sense of not crossing the finish line, but you're right, there's so much of a story to tell leading up to that race. I mean, everything you've told today, right, like, is a part of that race essentially. And to discount all that based on not finishing, like, that's not giving yourself enough love and grace. But yeah, I think a lot of us as athletes, as runners and people, deal with that. But again, yeah, it's not like, I was really encouraged by sharing how I felt, even though it wasn't like, thankfully, like I have an editor that can go through and like help me, share that in a way. But like these kind of conversations just aren't out there as much to talk about. Like, you were still out there as a performer, as a professional athlete, doing the thing you love. It didn't pan out that day. And I think sometimes, like, especially as a spectator, or like even I was guilty of this as a coach too, of like, I would think of it too much of in a black and white sense of like trying to make my athletes feel better. Oh, you didn't finish it this time. We can try again. But it's completely negating everything that went into that and up to that moment, right?
Yeah.
And so I just want to say thank you for sharing and being real with that, because yeah, I felt the same, and at the same time, all that was worth it. I hope you can come out the other side saying that. Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate that. I'll definitely check out. I'll definitely check out.
You don't need. If you want to, you can. But
No, I'd like to. I feel like I like I it's important also for me to hear other people talk about these
yeah,
types of things because,
yeah,
I'm still struggling and processing the fact that I
of
DNF'd.
course. Yeah. Well, and yeah, of like, that's going to be likely on your mind and your heart
Yeah.
in not only just after, like in this aftermath, but like going into your next performance or training cycle, anything like that.
Yeah.
But could also feel the fire too. We know that.
Yeah.
So is there anything on your radar coming up? Like getting better? You mentioned maybe doing a big adventure with your family. That would be awesome.
Yeah. So far that's what I've been looking into. It's I found that Mammoth 200 like a couple 3 weeks or 4 weeks before the race. So I was like
Hmm.
very like lucky to find that when I was looking for one. And I'm realizing it's not super easy to just like jump into a casual 200-mile already mapped out race.
Well, especially out in Mammoth too. Like,
Yeah,
it's not exactly easy getting there unless you're just
exactly.
driving. But driving
Yeah,
from where you're at across the country,
yeah.
yeah,
So I'm thinking of like creating something here uh, on the Northeast, or finding like 100-miler, here in the Northeast.
is that your
Uh,
jam? Do you like the 100-mile distance, or do you just like kind of anything?
I'd prefer like something closer to 200. Like you know, I would say James Poole, who was on my crew, he was like, you should definitely do more like 50 to 100s. Like you have that speed in your legs, you should do that. But I really loved TSP in the 300-mile one. So, and I was like, Mammoth was supposed to be 215. I want to go out and I want to run that distance and see
Yeah.
what that was kind
Hmm.
of like. So, but also it's hard to get like piece that all together, the logistics of a crew and like crew and all that. So, I don't think I'll have to. There's still a lot of thought that will have to be put into it, but yeah. And so hopefully I'll get something in within the next month or two. Something more, a little bit more casual, but still a hardcore
Yeah.
distance. And then
Well, I'm finding the older I get, the more I love, like, I'm a maps guy too. So I plan out so many different routes just from my
yeah,
front door. And
yeah,
like, those are my like favorite adventures.
yeah, yeah. I think I will have to drive a bit from where I am because I'm on the coast in Maine, and I would rather not do the whole thing on roads, and there's not many
Yeah.
trails within like a 50-mile radius of here.
Hmm.
So I definitely want to get into like more. Ideally, it would have it on most. See, that was another thing is like I'd never done any mountain running, so it was like
Yeah.
being out there in Mammoth and then being like, oh, I've been running the trail roads or like the back roads in Vermont. Like, there's a lot of elevation. I'll be fine in the mountains. No, it's a lot different when you're hopping up rocks.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, because did you guys come down the Dragon's Back?
I don't even know
Or,
what we came down,
okay.
but it was super scrambly,
Yeah.
rock scrambly.
So I think you did after the first time, because you guys go up Mammoth Mountain like pretty much right away,
Yeah,
right?
right away.
Like that's the first thing, and like,
Yeah,
hey, that's an introduction to mountain running, isn't it? It's full
yeah,
experience. But then
and
the course goes down Dragonback, which is super technical and
yeah,
all at altitude.
yeah,
Like you're coming from sea level.
yeah. I'm realizing the
Learning
biggest
curve.
thing though was like my fueling that I didn't
Okay.
like. I didn't equate for how much water and how much food because
So dry.
with
Yeah.
TSP, like I always had a truck with me, so I could get food whenever I wanted. But with
Hmm.
Mammoth, I didn't really equate for like aid stations and amount of water and electrolytes. And so once we climbed all the way to the Mammoth Mountain, I was so in race mode because like Rachel and Tommy, or sorry, Jimmy, I forgot what his name was.
Yeah, Jimmy.
He just like raced out of the aid station. They were in there for like 10 seconds. So I was like, oh my God. So I just grabbed a banana, filled up one water bottle. So within the first 3 hours of that race, I consumed only 200 calories and like
yeah, that'll get you.
Yeah, and like 3 bottles of water, one of which was Gatorade. So like that's why my legs completely seized up, because my electrolytes shortage was awful, and then my food supply was just non-existent. So
Well, that's like one of the things like I love most about trail and ultra running, even though I don't always love going the far distances.
yeah,
Like there's just so many, you get so much experience. So like out of that one experience at Mammoth, you've learned a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so like it's actually kind of fun, exciting going into your next one with everything that you've learned.
yeah, I'm just gonna eat everything
Yeah, all the time.
all the time. Yeah, like after I saw my group at mile 50 or like 45, and I like went and I just inhaled mashed potatoes and like this cheesy bread, I was like, whoa, like a new person.
And they don't have that at aid stations for marathons.
No, they definitely do not. They have like Morton gels, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So we'll see.
Well,
We'll see what's next soon.
yeah. Well, you know, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's next for you, what big adventures. And personally, sometimes I get really excited once athletes like you who are doing such great things, like not just for performance, like I just love seeing people's progression as professional athletes and just being able to share. I'm not a sharer as much on Instagram, besides like it's for my job as well, but it will be fun to see what kind of things come for you as like a new Hylo athlete, and just opportunities that will inevitably come because you got to be on everybody's radar anyways.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited as well.
One more thing. Do you have any dream races coming up? Like if you were just going to say, I want this one on my race resume.
I'm still learning what races are out there, not going to lie.
Yeah.
But I would say there's 2. And every time I say the first one, people are always like, it's overrated, but I still want to do it. Cocodona, I feel like, is one I really like, was the first one that caught my eye. So I was like, I want to do it.
Oh yeah. It's kind of iconic it was like one of the first 200 plus mile races that really brought an elite level of attention to it. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm saying this only knowing of like 5 ultra runners or ultra runs that exist.
Yeah.
My knowledge is slim. And then Mammoth. I'm like,
you'll be
so
back
ready.
Is what you're saying?
I'm so ready to go back.
Okay,
Yeah.
Tim, hook it up. Well,
Yeah.
and just like a shout out before we stop our conversation, but like Tim and Hillary and the whole crew, they put on such an amazing event.
Phenomenal.
I don't know if you got to be around at Trail Fest the weekend before, but like it's such an amazing event, especially for the US to have such a premier event like that. And then tagging on, not just tagging on, but like giving proper space to the Mammoth immediately after that. Like it's such a well-run organization. Like I almost wanted, I don't want to do the Mammoth, but I do want to go back for Trail Fest for sure and just do some more races and enjoy that. Okay, so maybe we can have this conversation again in 1 year and see, no matter the outcome, we can still swap stories. And
all right, October 1st, 2026.
Okay. Oh, let's just set the date. There we go. October 1st. Okay. Well, thank you, Parley, for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Taylor.
A good stretch, got my laces tied. My trusty podcast by my side. If you wanna tuck run, it's the place to be. Yeah, it's the drop. D-R-O